from Blondie. Now, Nick, tell me, how did it? What was the first sign you had that there was anything going wrong on that fateful night?
Fateful night, indeed. Well, probably if take you back to the night before, it was fairly rough. But I think most people that had been on board at the time had all known much rougher weather at the time. So after it all, we were fairly surprised that it actually went when it did. But the night before, very rough, sea all over the place. But it was one time, I do remember, seeing fridges flying around the kitchen. And
Fridges?
Oh, yeah.
Flying fridges.
And flying pots of jam and things like that. So it was very rough. At the time, there was Tom Anderson, there was Stevie Gordon, myself, and a Dutchman as well, whose name I can't remember, but I think someone next door probably can, and they'll come through in a moment. But as I say, it was a very rough night. Oh, they're coming through now. You can always tell that. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. What's
His name? Yes. Hans Verlaan.
Of course. Yes, Hans. Well, it was a very rough night, but we got by, and everything seemed to be standing up fairly well. Nobody thought there was any major problem. But we all went to bed. Of course, at the time, it was Radio Caroline was a Dutch service during the day and English at night. So once we'd done all we had to do, all the English, we all sort of toddled off to bed, as much as we used to do, sleep in the day and work at night. Everything seemed fine until I think it was Tom, or Hans rather, that came and woke Tom Anderson up. And he said he thought there was something not quite right, which was basically one of the navigation beacons, which normally I think about 15 or 10 miles away. But this one was much closer than that. It was a matter of hundreds of yards away.
A lot closer than it really should have been.
Well, yes. It was either we were moving or the beacon had gone. And more likely it was us. And as it happened, it was us that was drifting around the North Sea a little bit.
Oh, dear.
So,
oh, my God. Well, this is another song that was a favourite on the Mi Amigo at the time, I believe. It's from Lena Lovitch, and it's called Bird Song. Okay, Nick, we've got to the point where you're adrift and you've discovered, unfortunately, that you are adrift.
Adrift, indeed. Well, the very first thing we did was go up to the bridge and get onto the Coast Guards to inform them, which at the time we did. Straight away we told them we were adrift and we weren't exactly sure of where we were, the exact position. We wanted them to give us a position so we weren't actually drifting into territorial waters or anything like that. So they told us our position, but of course we were at that point still drifting around. But the rest of us were down on deck trying to put the emergency anchor down, which was a huge, great thing, which had sat on the side of the ship on a special sort of slide for a good few years. And once we'd cut away the rope, which was tied to the chain and to the slide as well, we found that the anchor just sat there. It wouldn't do anything. It had actually rusted itself to the slide. So that took a little bit longer. Meantime, the Coast Guard were sort of keeping in touch with us all the time. We had radio watch. And they told us that they were sending, at the time, a lifeboat out, though we didn't think we were in any real danger as such. But they sent it anyway. We're still on the air. The lights are flashing away.
Yeah,
so.
they are, aren't they?
Yeah.
Flickering away a bit. Well, I think we're still on the air, yes.
Yeah, this is nature sort of letting us know the date or something. So they told us the lifeboat was on its way and it would stand by for as long as we needed to. We got the second anchor over. That went eventually over the side. And then the Coast Guard could give us an exact position because we'd stopped moving, of course, by that time. But what we didn't realise at the time was we'd dropped the anchor and it had sort of dug in right on the edge of a sandbank, which, as you probably know now, was the undoing of it all. Another 5 or 10 minutes and probably we would have drifted over the sandbank and would have been in fairly deep water. We didn't know that at the time. However, anchor down, radio watch permanently, all the time there was someone there. I think at that time probably our office on land knew more or less what was happening and they were organising a tug really to come out with a fresh anchor chain and to move us back into our original position. So we settled back, kept an eye on everything. And by that time it was probably coming up to the start of the English service. So rather than do live programs, we decided that we would possibly be quite busy later on. So we put all the music out on tape. It was continuous music on tape. And we'll continue in a moment.
We will continue in a moment. It is in fact just midnight. Hello, one of the cart machines isn't cooperating.
Oh.
Shall we try again? Let's try again.
She really is fine, so fine.
2 without 3, and that's from Carolyn Mass. Now, Nick, you're on the sandbank and you've discovered the tide is going down. What happened next?
That's right. Well, it was early evening, and as the tide did go down, we gently sat on the sandbank, basically, and it all went down very nicely. We sort of cushioned effect. And it wasn't till, because we were sitting on the sandbank fairly happily. So if I sound nervous, but I find it's very strange to talk about. But,
I can imagine. Well, I think I can imagine.
So things were fine until when the tide began to rise, which must have been about 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And meanwhile, all the music, because we did stay on the air throughout, all the music was going out, but it was on tape, so no programs as such. And once the tide began to rise, instead of just sort of letting us come up and we were floating straight away, the ship was beginning to bounce as it sort of went up and down on what sea was actually under us, which wasn't a great deal. So we began to bounce on the edge of the sandbank, which was probably what did most of the damage. As you probably know, most of the ship was covered with a fairly thick layer of concrete throughout underneath the bilges. There's one area which wasn't very well covered with cement, which was in the generator room. And there'd been 1 or 2 holes there in the past, but nothing that we couldn't really cope with. But I'd say about 11:30, it was my turn to do the radio watch to keep in touch with the Coast Guard. So as I walked up towards the bridge, you used to have to pass by the engine room. So I just casually looked in there to make sure that it was still dry. We had pumps running throughout. I looked down there, and there was quite a lot of water down there. So Tom Anderson, who was doing radio watch at the time, I went up to take over and told him. And he said, well, it was perfectly dry about a quarter of an hour or so ago when he looked down there. So we decided to take another pump down there. So there were 2 pumps going full belt, trying to pump all the water out. But as much as we were pumping it out, it was coming in.
Coming back in twice as fast, yeah.
Twice as fast, at least, yeah. So we decided, we all got together, what were we going to do? And meanwhile, the lifeboat not very far away. So we decided at least we would close down the station, go onto the lifeboat, and see what happened. So there is a lot of recordings going around of Stevie Gordon and Tom Anderson actually doing the close down. People often say, well, where were you at the time? I was actually blowing down a dirty old pipe in the engine room trying to get the second pump going, because it was going from time to time, but often it would stop. So there they were, making history, doing this famous final speech, and there was me blowing down a dirty, oily old pipe.
It's always the same. The workers never get the limelight, do they?
Right.
Let's play another record, shall we?
You don't have to play it, but I hope you do your best. I've been listening to your show on the radio, and you seem like a friend to me.
Of your choice, I don't mind. I'd be happy just to hear your voice saying this is for the girl who didn't sign her name. Guess she needs a dedication just the same. Late at night I'm still listening. Don't waste my time chasing sleep. People say I look
the lifeboats are now standing by. A wonderful bunch of lads, actually, these lifeboat men. They really look after us, don't they? They don't,
I can't say enough about them, because, they'll come out in any old weather.
they don't mess about at all.
Oh, no.
They really do the...
Do the biz.
Dare I say do the business?
I may as well. He's probably listening. Hello, Bruce.
Hello, Bruce.
And probably tape recording. So that was more or less it. We took the decision we would actually go onto the lifeboat, whether just for a short while or whether they'd actually take us back to land. That didn't prove quite as easy as we'd hoped, really. At first, we all got our bags together with our clothes and things and went to the deck at the back of the ship. And what they planned to do was throw a line across, and we'd slide the bags off onto the lifeboat that way. Tried it quite a few times, but it just wouldn't actually happen because it was a little bit too rough. Plus the fact we were sitting on the sandbank at a very strange angle, so they couldn't come as close as they'd like to. So we gave up the idea of actually trying to take any bags off and just get ourselves off. So there was 4 of us, and of course Wilson the canary had to come off as well.
Wilson the canary.
Oh yes, we used to have a canary called Wilson. Oh, that was Wilson too, actually. So I'd say it took probably about 3/4 of an hour to actually get us all off, because what the lifeboat was doing was coming as close as it could, just skimming past. We'd literally throw someone on board, and they'd be on the lifeboat, and then it would try and come in again and get someone else off. So 3/4 of an hour is quite a long time.
It is, yeah. But, yeah, they'll come alongside and stay there half the night if it takes half the night, won't they?
Absolutely.
These chaps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So once we were all on there, and we all went down in, because it's like a sealed unit, the lifeboat, we'd been on it for about 10 minutes, and the door opened, and one of the lifeboat crew called down to say that all the lights had gone out on the ship, which obviously meant at that time that the water had got to the generators. And it had finished them off. They were gone. So it looked as if the ship was actually disappearing beneath the waves. So they took the decision, and we did as well. We agreed to go to land, basically, which is what we did. Though even at that point, when we were all safely on land, I think anybody really thought it was completely gone and the ship was finished. We thought, get a salvage crew together and go out later on the day, mop it all up, dry it out, back on the air in a month or two maybe. It wasn't until early evening of that day that I think we all actually saw the news film on television of just the aerial poking out of the water, the rest of the ship completely gone.
Was that when the realisation began to dawn that the Mi Amigo was in fact gone?
Gone completely, yeah, that's right. And anyone that's ever worked on it, all the people in the past, all seem to agree that it was really an extraordinary ship. It had so much character, and you always felt that you were coming home when you went out there sort of to do a stint. But it was gone. It took a long time to come back. I know a lot of people actually wrote the station off completely after the Mi Amigo had gone. And of course we're here on a nice new ship, strong, tough as old boots, I'd say. And here we are, 1985, back on the air. Better than ever, I'd say.
Here to stay.
Indeed, indeed.
Well, this is the last record, in fact, that was played on the Mi Amigo on that fateful night. Rod Stewart and the Killing of Georgie.
Tried to explain that he needed love like all the rest. Paul said there must be a mistake. How can my son not be straight after all I've said and done for him? Leaving home on a Greyhound bus, cast out by the ones he loves, a victim of these gay days. It's the opening night of another Broadway hype, but split before the final curtain fell. Deciding to take a shortcut home, on and on, they meant no wrong. A gentle breeze blew down Fifth Avenue. Side street came a New Jersey gang with just one aim, to roll some innocent passerby. There into the fearful fight, screams rung out in the night. George's head hit a sidewalk cornerstone. A leather kid, a switchblade knife, he did not intend to take his life, he just pushed his luck.
Of Georgie, the very last record ever broadcast from the ship Mi Amigo. It's all getting a little bit emotive up here in this studio at the moment, so we're going to carry on with the rest of the programme as normal very shortly. But just before we do, Nick, you want to give a final message to the lifeboats and Coast Guard crews?
Indeed, yeah. Really, not to put too fine a point on it, they saved our lives. They saved my life, and they saved some of my friends' lives. And we always do say that they do such excellent work. It's always nice to know you're there. We hope we never have to need your services. But I for one, would like to thank all that crew on the lifeboat that rescued us, and of course the friends at North Foreland Radio, always very helpful to us. We know you're there, and we're glad you are there sometimes.
We certainly are. Doing a great job, chaps, and keep it up. What else can we say?
Not a great deal. That's more or less covered the whole thing. Of course, it's something better to look forward to is Easter, which is when it all started, 21 years ago. That's coming up fairly soon. That's on a brighter note.
Birthday, yeah, we're going to be birthday boys.
21 today.
Right, well, this is a dedication to everybody who's ever been connected with Caroline, past and present. It's from Van Morrison and The Way Young Lovers Do.